Yes, yes. Good morning slash afternoon, wherever you are in the world. How you doing? 22nd of December, 2020. I hope you're all doing well. You're having a good day, a good week, a good month. Thanks for dropping by. I'm excited. This afternoon, when I get home from work for the first time in 7 days, I won't be living in an assault course. The decorators and painters will have left and we will have a home at last, and it's going to be amazing. It's been a nightmare. Everything under plastic and not able to touch the walls, and I'm a clumsy oaf at the best of times, so it's been really difficult. But this evening I get to go home to a home. So listen, well, thanks for dropping by. Straight off the bat today, I'm going to talk about something really important, one of the most important distinctions actually in my work, and something that I've learned, which is the difference between living a life dedicated to a purpose and a life of playing at your highest levels of performance, and perhaps accepting a life being trapped behind obligation and mediocrity. So straight off the bat, I want to put a question to you. Do you have a tendency to give up on projects, challenges, goals too easily? And does that leave you feeling a little bit despondent? If that's you, just drop a yes in the comments below. No shame, no judgment. I used to absolutely 100% be the king of the pivot. And I always gave up on things too quickly. I always gave up on too soon. If I didn't see the results and the progress momentum I wanted, I'll abandon it, I'd pivot, and I'd go and do something else. And it just kept me spinning and spinning around and around in circles. So if that's you, and you have a tendency to do that, just drop a 1 in, or a yes or a 1 in the comments, just so I know what's going on for you. So if you're on the live today and you're joining me at any point, give us a hello in the comments. Let me know where you're from, and if you're on the replay, again, say hi. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if any of this content or any of this chat today is going to be resonating with you, because it's a really cool message. It's really important. So I'm just going to get my phone up here because I'm using a new piece of technology that will hopefully allow me to see people on the call. Cool, there we go. I can't see who's on. I can't see who's jumped in, actually. That's a bit annoying. Well, if you're watching, hi, let me know who you are, where you're from, so I can engage with you. So Monday nights in our house is swimming night. Our daughter goes to the local swimming club, and hundreds of these kids power up and down the pool for hours. Super fit, amazing, incredible. I used to swim a lot as a kid, so I know what they're going through. It can be tough. And on the odd occasion, if depending on what's going on at the club, they sometimes put a couple of lanes in the diving pool. And last night they were in the diving pool, and my wife and I were in there watching Ava swim. And there were some kids practicing in the dive club, practicing on the lower board. And they started off, they were just doing some front somersault dives, and they're all pretty, I mean, the kids must have been about, I don't know, they must have been about 13, 14, quite young. And they were just doing front dives, and they were doing amazing, right? Then they switched and they practicing doing back dives off the board. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried to do any of this, but I personally haven't, but it doesn't look very easy. It was quite hard. And there was this one girl, and when she was doing her front dives, she was nailing it. She was very graceful. She was really beautiful. But when she did a back dive, she completely slammed it. I mean, she just did the most awkward, painful looking back flop I've ever seen. And because of the age group and the kids, there was a bit of giggling, a bit of sniggering, and it must have been a pretty horrific moment for her. Anyway, she immediately got out and she got back on. They were queuing up and taking the turns. She went back to the front, and she got back on and she tried again, and she slammed it again, and she just couldn't get the timing right. And her commitment really caught my eye, and she kept on going. And eventually, she just kept trying on. About her fourth try, she absolutely nailed it. She did the most beautiful, graceful. It looked, for me, it looked like the perfect dive. It was just lovely. And I was just in sort of awe at this girl, right? She's only been about 13 or 14, but watching her, I just found it such a powerful demonstration of the three things that I have come to learn form that distinction. right? And that is, she clearly is very passionately engaged with her purpose and her vision of becoming a successful diver. Secondly, she clearly had enough self-esteem and worth and belief in herself to constantly get back up and keep trying until she got it right, despite the sniggering, despite the laughing. And on that last point, the amount of control that she exercised, right, to not allow the other kids, and her coach was going bananas, by the way. He was really shouting at her. To not let her affect her and just stay focused and stay doing what she was doing was just incredible. And I was really, really grateful to this girl. And here's why: because through that demonstration of her commitment, she reminded me of that distinction. And that quite simply is, she wasn't allowing the mistakes and failures as evidence and excuse to give up. She used it as motivation and fuel for growth and transformation, to keep going. And that's the key distinction. And personally, it was it's the universe, it sends you messages, doesn't it? It was great timing for me because, as I said before, up until very recently, I was quite easily pulled off course by if I wasn't seeing the results and the momentum and the progress and all the things I expected to get back from the things that I was doing, I would can things really, really quickly. And I'd go on to the next thing, just adding complexity, adding workload, adding more and more stuff to do and do. But through learning this distinction and working with it and helping other people understand it as well, it's become a really powerful influence on my ability to stay resilient. And what that girl demonstrated through the diving was what happens when the incredible, massive, unstoppable power that you can find within yourself when self-esteem, resilience, and your sense of purpose collide. Okay, and it can really drive you forward. I'll give you an example. I'm doing a challenge at the moment online, which this video is kind of a part of, which is all about purpose-aligned self-evaluation. It's quite a spontaneous thing that kicked off last Friday. I invited lots of people to download a template that I use and that I've developed over the last 3 or 4 years. And it helps me really focus and evaluate myself every morning and every evening around the things that I'm trying to improve and around the things that I'm trying to build. And I talked about how much I believe in self-evaluation. I invited people onto this challenge, and every day I invite someone to, I share something from my own practice and invite other people to do the same. Now, we're into day 5, and I announced this morning that this live was part of my commitment to that, and the engagement has been sort of not that great, okay? Well, I don't think it's been that great anyway. Now, in the past, I probably would have canned this by now. I probably would have gone, right, no one cares, it's shit, this is rubbish, I'll go and do the next thing. And I will have completely disconnected myself from the whole reason I'm doing this. And the whole reason how it's connected to my purpose and my vision. And the whole reason why I should be committed to it, because it's not about me, it's about other people. It's about inspiring other people to grow and serving them as powerfully as I can. But even a few weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, you might remember if you'd seen some of my stuff on Facebook, I used to do this thing called 3 Bullet Friday, where I'd come on at the end of the day and do a short video about the things that have inspired me throughout the week. And I'd share that as a pre-recorded video on all my platforms. I did about 6 episodes of them. And my inner stuff came up. I didn't feel like I was getting the engagement, the response I want, and I haven't done it since. Okay, look, fine, shame on me. You know, I should be leading by example. But, you know, since then, and really delving into what it means to stay committed, I've come to learn that important distinction is that the evidence, the mistakes and failures and the evidence of the progress you need, I can either choose, right, to see them as proof that something isn't working and make it and create an excuse to abandon it and give up, or I can lean into it, reconnect with the reason that I'm doing it, get myself out of the way, reconnect with the reasons I believe in it, and recalibrate to what I can control and influence and not get pulled off course and despondent by what I can't. So the question to you is, how's this showing up in your life right now? What things, if you answered yes to the question I asked before, which is all about which was, you know, do you have a tendency, have you given up on something recently? Is something happening right now that you're not getting the results from? You're kind of thinking of maybe, you know, can it and try something different. If that's showing up for you right now, I invite you to maybe take a step back. I'm all about taking a step back, and have a look at how you might be able to either exhume that and bring a project back to life, or maybe look at how you can recalibrate and reframe what you're doing at the moment in that 4-step process. Number one, get yourself out of the way. And remember, most of the things that we're doing in our life, in our business, sure, it has implications for us as people, but it also has implications for others. And in fact, the effect and implications it has on others is probably more important than the implications and effects it has on ourselves. So get yourself out of the way, get your own self out of the way, remind yourself why you're doing it. Secondly, reconnect with how that task or that project is serving the bigger purpose. So look at the long-term commitment implication versus a short-term gain, and reconnect with passion that sits underneath that. Also, reconnect with your deep beliefs around it and the evidence of value that you felt about doing this thing in the past. Because if it worked for you, like this self-evaluation thing has worked for me, and it's had tremendous effect on my life in terms of growing me as a person, being able to achieve the things I'm achieving at the moment. Without it, I just wouldn't be able to do it. So if that's worked for me, then, and I'm a pretty normal everyday guy, it's certainly going to work for other people as well. And finally, recalibrate to what you can control first, what you can influence second, and let go of everything that you can't control. So going back to our brave diver that I was watching yesterday, okay, the only thing that she could control was her own determination and her own gumption, her own commitment to get back on that board and keep trying until she absolutely nailed it. And she silenced everyone around her. In fact, everyone that was laughing and shouting at her, they were all standing up and clapping. It was amazing. And, you know, and the same thing goes for me with this challenge I'm doing at the moment. I could quite easily just can this. No one will give a shit. No one's engaging with it anyway, and have that attitude. Or I can think to myself, no, the reason that I'm doing this is because I believe very powerfully in the power of consistent, regular self-evaluation. I have developed a system over the last 4 to 5 years that has had a tremendous effect on me and my life. And I want to share that with other people. And my job is to find ways of bringing my most creative and playful self to that task, to find ways that I can optimize people's engagement with what I'm doing, whether it's through my own system or whether it's just something that they develop on their own. So that's it for me today. Quick live. I've got to jump now. I have a client call coming up, but just wishing you all a lovely Tuesday. And if any of this has resonated, you know, give me some comments below. Let me know what, if this is showing up for you in your life, whether there's some projects or some tasks, challenges, goals that you actually might have a rethink and reframe using that 4-step method. And as always, if you want to get into this in a bit of deep level, then just send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to chat. That's it for me now. Wishing you a wonderful day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye now.